Hey guys, today I'm going to teach you how to make a Christmas light collar. First, you're going to need a sweatshirt. I will link this one from Amazon in the description. Next, you're going to need embroidery thread. I like to use DMC embroidery thread. Here I'm using 3053, 936, and 498. For this tutorial, we're going to be using a pattern to sew on to the sweatshirt. I have pre-printed and digital patterns of this in my shop. You're also going to need an embroidery needle. You can get these at most craft stores. I like to use size 5. Lastly, you're going to need some scissors. Any scissors will do. To get started, we're going to remove our pattern from the backing. It comes off like a sticker and you stick it on your sweatshirt, and it's going to dissolve in water when we're done stitching. If you're printing yourself, I'll link the stabilizer in the description. Next, we're going to cut about an arm's length of the dark green yarn, and we're going to be using all 6 strands today. Next, you're going to pinch your thread in between your fingers and thread it through the eye of the needle. Then we're going to pull it about 3/4 of the way down so that it's hanging like a tail, and then on the other end we are going to tie a knot. I like to wrap my finger around the thread and then pull it tight so that the knot is on the very end of the thread. I'm going to be showing you backstitch today. First, you're going to bring your needle and thread up, and then you're going to bring it back down about 1/3 of an inch ahead of where you entered. Then you're going to bring your needle up another 1/3 of an inch, and we're going to bring it up all of the way, and then bring it back down at the end of your previous stitch, and it will go in the same hole. And then pull your thread tight. You're going to do this again, bring your needle up about 1/3 of an inch, and then back down. Continue doing this process and try to make sure your stitches are the same length every time. Each time you bring your needle up, you're going to bring it back down at the end of your previous stitch. That's why we call it backstitch. When you move to the letter, if you have to change directions, this is a short distance, so we're just going to bring our needle up where we want to start, and then we're going to continue doing back stitches. Now when we get to the thicker part of the letter, we're actually going to do 2 rows of back stitches. So you're going to bring your needle up on the side of your other back stitch, and you're going to bring it down in the same hole, and that makes 2 rows. So then you're going to keep stitching back stitches on either side, and then the last 2 back stitches in that row you'll connect with a single back stitch. And then for the rest of it, we're going to do single back stitches again. If you need to move to a different section, I like to take my thread underneath the stitches on the back of my project, and I will just snake it through until I get to the next location, and this just ensures that the thread is not long on the back and is held down. You're going to keep embroidering with backstitch, and remember, when the letter has thicker sections, we're going to double up on our backstitch, making back stitches beside each other and filling in those larger sections. And then when it moves to the smaller sections of the letter, we're going to go back to single back stitches. If you have to move to a completely different letter, I like to tie off my thread so it stays tidy. And to tie off my thread, I will sink the needle underneath previous stitches, and then I'll do that one more time, and instead of pulling it tight, I will bring my needle through the loop and I will pull it tight into a knot. I will then take it through the stitches one more time just to ensure that everything is flat on the back. We are then going to thread our needle again and tie a knot, and then begin stitching again. As you stitch the rest of your pattern, make sure that you're trying to have the same length of your stitches throughout the project, and remember, when you come to thicker sections, we're going to double up. Once again, if you have to move a large distance, we're going to cut off our thread and restart. Once we have come to the end of the lights, we are going to end our back stitch and tie off our thread. We are now going to move to our lights, and first I'm going to use the color red, and we're going to do a lazy daisy stitch for each light. So you're going to bring your needle up and back down, and then you're going to go to the end of the light, bring your needle up through the loop, and it's going to catch the loop. Then we are going to bring our needle down on the outside of our loop. This locks it in place. We have one more red light on this side, so I'm going to snake my thread through all of the stitches here to get to that section, and then we're going to do another lazy daisy stitch there. For the lazy daisy, remember we're going to bring our thread and needle up and then back down in the same place, and then we're going to bring our needle up at the end of the light through the loop, pull the loop tight, and then we're going to take our needle back down on the outside of the loop. That was the last red on this side, so we're going to tie off our thread and we're going to restart on the other side. We're going to do the same process for this section of lights. We're going to do lazy daisy stitches for the lights. We're going to snake our thread underneath the stitches when we move sections, and then after the second red light, we're going to cut off and move to our green lights. Now we are going to stitch the green Christmas lights, and there's only one green light on each side, so you're going to do your lazy daisy stitch and then you're going to tie off for each light. When you're done stitching, we're going to tie off our thread and we're going to wash off our stabilizer. Normally I show myself washing off the stabilizer, but I forgot to film it this time, so I'm including the instructions and you can watch another video of mine to see it. Now you're done! I think this project is so fun. It adds a festive touch to clothing. I hope you enjoyed it and you make a bunch of Christmas light collars.